I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is. Eventually people are going to say, what the hell is going on? It's not enough to say it's nuts. You have to explain why it's so nuts. The invention of artificial life, the cloning of human beings, possible contact with extraterrestrials, the systems which are in place to keep the world sane are utterly inadequate to the forces that have been unleashed.
Welcome back to Forbidden Knowledge News. I'm your host, Chris Matthew. Today my guest is Jake Parsons. If you'd like to help with our film fundraiser for movie number 3, we have links right in the description. Anything is greatly appreciated. We would love to be able to properly advertise this film. You can also help by watching my previous films. Occult Louisiana is on Tubi, Roku, Apple, and a few more. Doors of Perception is on Amazon Prime and a brand new streaming service called Relay for free. We are booking guests for March. If you have suggestions or you'd like to be a guest, email me forbiddenknowledgenews@gmail.com. Today I want to welcome back to the show Jake Parsons. He has been a firefighter and paramedic in Central Florida for over 15 years. He's a musician and writer, primarily focusing on creating highly conscious content. Jake, welcome back. How you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. Good to see you. How you been?
I've been good, man. It's good to see you again. It has been a while since we spoke. I always enjoy getting your perspectives and insights into our rapidly changing reality. I can remember our discussions years ago, almost prophesizing the current state of dystopia we're in. Although Vindication and I Told You So's can be nice to experience, I think we're at the point where, with all the information coming out, it's time for what do you do about it? How much longer can the average Joe keep his head buried in the sand? We're in the most interesting of times for sure. There's a lot we can get into. So much has happened since we last spoke. Before we do, remind the audience a little bit about yourself and let them know how they can find out more.
Jake Parsons, 100th Monkey on a lot of platforms, YouTube, TikTok, all that. Firefighter paramedic for almost 20 years now, Central Florida area. And then, obviously invested in the occult through experience and education, I would say. That's about it.
Like I said, it's been a while. Tell us a little bit about what's going on in your reality. How's everything been for you amidst the rapid changes and the deep sliding into dystopian reality that we're in?
It's funny, like in the intro, what you said there about it's not prophecy. We're just reading the playbook. I mean, they haven't changed their mode. They haven't changed their game plan at all. All they did was just destroy the Georgia Guidestones. I mean, I think I heard a recent story where they say that like stone is the only thing that can't be changed in this simulation, which is why they got to destroy the Georgia Guidestones. Doesn't get affected by the Mandela effects, right? Something has been going on these last 10 years. But from where we are right now to where we were in 2016, mine and your conversation has not changed at all. That's the craziest part for me. The world has caught up to us. The occult has become culture, but the topics that we have discussed, I don't think there has been any revelations in the past 10 years, probably. We're still operating off of Q. Every January, February, there's talks of war with Iran. Russia's still the bad guy. We're still stuck in 1984.
As it relates to what we're experiencing right now, there have been some interesting developments with the Epstein dumps. Although I don't think there will ever be real justice served based on the information coming out, there's the awareness of this. I think it will allow people to see some of the things that they might refuse to see otherwise now that it's in black and white, unredacted paperwork. But who knows? What are your thoughts on some of the information coming out of there?
I think with the release of these artificial intelligence operations that we have, the chat GPTs and everything. When you go back and you look at news articles, media, press, movies, social media posts, they all seem to be written by chat GPT years ago. The Epstein files are interesting to me because it seems like almost anything in this world, the truth will only happen once, right in the beginning. It's like with Charlie Kirk. You'll see it once, and then it will get scrubbed, and then everything gets really confusing. And the Epstein files, that was back on the dark web when people like me and you knew what was going on with Pizzagate and all these things that people said we were crazy, that how could this be true? And here we are. It's obviously true, but the problem is, how many stages of manipulation has this gone through? You know, there's nothing there. Nobody's connected. The same people that were laughing about it, saying there's nothing in there, like Trump and his buddy, they're in there. This release to me seems so suspect. I mean, these are Google Gmail accounts that they're talking to. They're redacted sometimes. There's all these inconsistencies. These are politicians talking about really weird stuff that would get them in trouble. Nobody's been arrested. It seems like either more, obviously it's all theater, but these redactions are almost being used as like blackmail to signal to the other side, like we will just keep releasing these things. And it all could be made up. It all could be make believe. And we live in this world now where nobody even cares anyways. I mean, it's like, of course, nobody would care if aliens showed up. Nobody cares about this Epstein list, and we got it now. And where's the arrests? What's going on?
There's always layers of agendas and opportunities for the parasites with every new event that happens. I think the Epstein files aren't anything new as it relates to that. I think it's a demoralization campaign on top of everything else, because we're getting all this wild information. And like you said, there's no justice being served. No one's being arrested. But what's happening is the normies are getting an idea of the deep, dark levels of occult and behaviors that these high-level people really participate in, which 5-10 years ago, you would have told them that, and they would have just brushed it off because it's so wild and unbelievable. But now, like I said, it's in black and white. It's coming out for everyone to see. Could it just be to demoralize your everyday person so that they now believe that not only are these people untouchable, but they're really into these occult rituals. They really believe some of this occult spirituality, this Satanism that they're involved in. And if they believe it, how are we supposed to compete with people who are working with the devil and control the world, right?
Yeah, I think it is demoralizing in a certain sense, but at the same time, I think a lot of the goal with this release is in every area. The demoralization comes with attachment to these people, to the media, to the culture, to the music, to the movies, to the celebrity. You see it with MAGA and this Trump cult. Because he's involved in it, they refuse to acknowledge it. It was the same thing with ICE. Regardless of what anybody thinks, these are humans. What you accept and what you cheer on for to happen to other people, it will happen to you eventually. It will change. But what I think is happening with this Epstein list, all of us are guilty by proxy. We have funded this through our attention, through our money, everything. We're all connected to the Epstein list, right? The way out of demoralization is just admitting that. It's just like all of us had to do. I mean, I'm a musician. Every musician that is famous says they sold their soul to the devil. You have to be able to separate yourself from that and also acknowledge the truth. And I think a lot of people are still really silent with this Epstein list because they don't know how to discuss it. They don't know how to acknowledge that with themselves. Like, people who have Will Smith on poster of Men in Black when they're growing up, but then you see what he is now. You can't just keep worshiping the celebrity of Will Smith. You kind of got to acknowledge this. And hopefully through this, people just acknowledge this reality. Because I don't think this Epstein list is any different than Michael Jackson. I don't think it's any different than Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. It's just, when are people going to accept it and stop? People will still say Michael Jackson's innocent and he's pictured with Epstein.
Yeah.
And people will still say he's innocent. People in the truther community. And was he a victim? Absolutely. But he victimized too. And we have to be honest about that. And so I think a lot of people are still really worried about how that will make them look. Even in the corporate world, in the media, all these people interviewed these people, and then they also greased these wheels with the people like Kevin Spacey, Harvey Weinstein, P. Diddy. They threw them under the bus, and now they're doing their press tours on their comeback tours they're doing podcasts with Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, I see a future where all of those people that are in the Epstein list come right back around for redemption arcs.
There's a whole new level of infiltration that's occurred the past couple of years with the alternative media space, and that is the new mainstream alternative media that basically slid in and took over everything as soon as some of the alternative voices started to blow up and get out there, so that, of course, they can control the narrative, but they're presenting information that we were talking about years ago, the same old things, not presenting anything new. It's just being heard for the first time from voices like Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens. They have now infiltrated the alternative space so that they can control the information flow there. It's also connected with the technological algorithms and AI that keep you and me in certain echo chambers, keep the information that we're trying to put out there only shown to certain individuals. Meanwhile, the new mainstream alternative is the algorithm's best friend, and they're getting millions and millions of views because that is the new sanctioned conspiratorial information.
Yeah, that's one thing about you that I've always respected, and I've always tried to support you. And there's only certain OGs in this space. There's very few of them left. And I'm guilty of this myself because I have like a YouTube channel where I don't do anything with it. And we fractured our communities so much by people. There's so many podcasts. Everybody who was in the comment section for the Leak Project 10 years ago with Rex Bear, now they all have their own podcasts. And that's great. I love it. I think it's all good. But at some point, we have to come back together as a community and stop. We're not even competing with each other. We're just getting banned and shadow banned, and we're in our own echo chambers. We might as well go back to MySpace, and because what we're doing is fracturing ourselves in more and more little echo chambers to where these new reality TV stars is all they are. The new podcasters are just reality TV housewives of fucking podcasting. You know what I mean? That's all they are. It's same thing like politicians. I look at the political sphere and I'm like, they're the new celebrity. DC is the new Hollywood. We burnt Hollywood down. We're like, oh, it's so fake and gay. How's Washington, DC? Yeah, MAGA, Turning Point USA.
Yeah.
What are we doing? I mean, and even like what you were saying with these alternative communities. Look at Turning Point USA. Look at what was uncovered with that operation. Is that an alternative truth? Is that not mainstream? I mean, that's as mainstream as it gets. That's a boot.
That's a psychological mind control operation there. The guy that wrote the psychological warfare manual with Michael Aquino is on the board of directors at Turning Point. So that should tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah. And if you look at the faces of Michael Aquino, his face looks pretty similar to JD Vance. And freaking look at JD Vance's eyes and look at Erica Kirk's eyes.
Yeah.
And tell me if they aren't both dark, bright blue eyes, dark, scowling eyes. I mean, and both of their backstories are faker than hell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, JD Vance is Peter Thiel. That's the thing with this Epstein list that people, I don't know, people like me and you, we've already known this, but people are worried about Bill Gates when they should be worried about Peter Thiel. You know,
Yes.
Bill Gates is yesterday's news. Our
He's old
parents
news,
should have been
buddy.
dealing with Bill Gates, but they didn't. They thought he was smart.
Yeah.
Elon Musk, he's gone too. The new ones are like these Peter Thiels, and that's the real shit in the Epstein list, is not the connections we've already known. Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, are you kidding me? They're so far off the reservation. They're like Joe Biden at this point.
It's hilarious. In the mainstream news, they're still trying to connect Epstein with Putin. I think you spelled Mossad wrong, but nice try.
Yes. I mean, yeah, I think you spelled Bibi Netanyahu wrong. It's really insane too, and that's the thing with it. It's demoralizing, maybe, but to people like me and you, I think it's very invigorating to see confirmation of everything you've known. Because I don't ever need to say "I told you so." It's apparent. It's evident. It's just like in the Epstein files. They didn't confirm any. They didn't surprise any of us. You know, Putin wasn't in there.
Right.
Kim Jong-un wasn't in there.
Yeah.
So something else is going on. And, you know, the other thing that I've seen lately that I really hope the Epstein files would do, and I don't think it's done that. People are still so focused on Trump and that this is a worldwide operation. Every world leader is involved in this. Every platform, every tech company is involved in this. Everywhere is America. The sooner the world realizes this, we're all the same. There is no buying Greenland. There's just stripping rights away from people. That's all there is just stripping rights, taking land, taking property, and making everywhere look like an Airbnb fucking tourist trap. I mean, every beach town is nothing but Airbnbs now. Every historic city has like a strip where there's fashion malls, and I can't stand it anymore. So we need to realize that Japan is just like New York City. Everywhere's the same. The citizens are the same. Everywhere's Disneyland. Everybody watches Netflix. Everybody's controlled by the same people.
They really did a number on a portion of the quote unquote truth community since 2020, especially with the Trump administration. They roped in a lot of people, a lot of free thinkers who were getting sick of the system, but were pushed over the edge by the wokeness to, in my perspective, the wrong way. I think they were pushed to the extreme right whenever they just should have been pushed out of politics altogether, like the people with eyes to see. But instead, they were just pushed to the extreme on the other side, which allowed the rollout of everything we're seeing now. AI governance, technocracy, Palantir. I think the whole immigration thing is a problem, reaction, solution, operation to bring about more surveillance, more AI surveillance, more technology to govern us.
Yep, that's all it is for. I mean, everything that we've said for the last 10 years is true. We will have digital IDs. We will have, it will be just forced upon us no matter what we do, and the surveillance state does continue. And I remember talking with you, I don't know if it was last time or the time before, but saying there's something going on with the not handing over government, right? We have like these Bidens and Pelosi's and Trumps, and there doesn't seem to be anybody capable or in the position to take over the levers. And this Epstein list, it seems to lead right into the same theory that we discussed, where we can't trust anybody. We have to give it to AI. People are so bad. Look, everybody we thought was good is on the Epstein list. We must give it to AI, even though Peter Thiel's running the fucking AI. But to me, that's where a lot of this shit is heading, to where demoralize you to the point where you don't believe in anyone or anything. And I don't even believe things. You can't believe screenshots, emails, phone calls, pictures, videos.
Right.
Never been a better time to release these emails and release any of these lists. So I think we're definitely heading to that point to give things over to some type of automation, even with this ICE shit. It's just like what you said. People like, not like us, but people, very smart people who want to do right and want to fight back against systems were weaponized because they were sold something with Trump and RFK, and the system was so bad that anything would be better. But then they went the opposite way. I mean, we're starting new wars. We're doing all types of shit now. And this ICE on the streets, masked people. I thought we were against masks. All of this stuff, it's not worth the squeeze. And I think these ICE people, they'll be in the polling stations come midterms. I don't think people are realizing this too. You think these guys are going to go away? If you wanted to crack down on voters and all this other shit, show up at the polling stations and midterms.
Yeah.
Do you want to cause a civil war? Do that. I mean,
from what I understand, they're getting a lot of foreign agents to act as ICE officers because they don't want people with any emotional ties to the average everyday person. Foreign individuals that have no ties or connection with the United States to come in and bust heads, basically.
Yep. And there's no oversight on that. The police and everything, we've reformed police so much, they can't even do their jobs effectively, right? They're so neutered and scared. They're so policed themselves that we've had to bring in ICE. We have to say, no, well, all that police reform we've worked so hard for, all these communities that worked so hard for body cams, and that's all out the fucking window. Mask them up, no body cams, rip you out of your car, shoot you, whatever. I mean, to me, it was just, you could support borders. Definitely, you could support getting rid of illegal immigrants, whatever. But that juice isn't worth the squeeze. Nobody voted for them going into communities. And when you're saying Kyle Rittenhouse is a hero for bringing an AR to some protest in another town and shooting people, but this dude isn't, and his was in his waistband, and then to hear the government get on there and say like he was approaching him with a gun, I mean, that's some wild stuff. If you go on like the Twitter or X for the government, all the government's pages look like promo videos on Instagram. They're like funny reels with Theo Vaughn and Joe Rogan talking about deporting people. It's insane to me how wildly unprofessional our government even has become. I mean, when you have DHS bragging about like ice baby and throwing people out, you're killing people. What are we doing?
Well, we've got the extreme right displaying behaviors that the extreme left was displaying just a couple of years ago, making excuses for totalitarianism, making excuses to usher in all of this surveillance and technology under the guise of the evil immigrants. It's the same thing. It's amazing to see the behavior displayed from these people who were crying about the same exact behavior from the other side for years, and now they're doing it.
Yeah. ICE is the new COVID, but it's just opposite. If the right sees the immigrants, they put on the mask, they do the same shit. It's like, get him, he's a danger. He's a danger.
Yeah.
It's like the total opposite. They act like an immigrant is a threat to their health, and it's like, he's been here. It's just like COVID. It's literally just like COVID. That's the common cold. They've been here this whole time. We're probably okay.
Yeah, it's amazing,
wild,
man.
And that's to me where I don't know about you, but it goes right into what we just said about this podcast space. That someone like your channel, I also like, say, I don't know, Tinfoil Hat or some, I like Sam Tripoli and these guys.
Yeah.
You have an archive. You have a catalog of things that you could go back. It's already been discussed. You don't have to constantly rehash. You don't have to constantly rework new theories and all of that stuff. We've done that every time I go onto YouTube now. It's some shit we've talked about 10 years ago with famous people talking about it. It's all comedy is Joe Rogan comedy. All comedy is like Joe Rogan. All Netflix is that kind of comedy. Bert Kreischer type shit. I think that all the culture is still stalled. Now it's just stalled on the right. The right was winning for a while because it was so against everything.
Yeah.
But now it's just against nothing. That shit don't exist anymore. Now the right is just against I'm like, what are we even fighting for? What do we even stand for? What does the right stand for? We've lost all our property. We're funding wars.
They have mastered psychological manipulation and mind control. I think that's what the MK Ultra experiments were all about, is this time period right now. Implement the drugs, get them hooked on pharmaceuticals so that their awareness level drops and they're reliant on the pharmaceuticals and the medical system. Introduce the social media so that they become addicted to that. Then we can program them much easier through the social media, through the entertainment industry that is bringing out the propaganda, trying to push the anti-human agendas on people. And then you fast forward to today, the state of mind that a lot of unfortunate people are at: psychosis, immoral behavior, school shootings, all the crazy things that we're seeing displayed. Now, granted, I think a lot of that is theater as well, some of the high impact events that have occurred. But I do think that younger people's mental state has been extremely manipulated by social media, pharmaceuticals, and the programming that comes out of all of that.
Well, but my kids, so I have two boys. My oldest is in 7th grade now. And they play baseball, so I see a lot of these kids. And part of me really believes that we'll always be okay. And kids are just naturally resilient, and they're doing a lot better than us adults want to believe. We have so much knowledge and so much that we've been through. I think a lot of us think the children are a lot worse than they really are. I think they're in a better place than we ever were. They're way more loved, way more informed, just on a whole.
Mm-hmm.
But what I see is there's no off-ramp for childhood anymore. There's no place to go as an adult. That's what we found. Right. And I think a lot of me, I'll be 39 in a month. And all of the things that were normal, the hangouts, the places you would go where there would just be people everywhere. I mean, you could even go to a mall on a weekend and it's dead in there. Yeah. I mean, there's just no common things anymore. There's not HBO on Sunday nights to even watch Game of Thrones or whatever. There's not really any common interests, common goals. We don't even know what to achieve or shoot for. I mean, I don't think it's realistic to even consider buying a house in this market. If you were a 20-year-old man buying a house in this economy, starting a family, having kids, I'm glad I had them when I was young, because I couldn't imagine doing it now. So for me, I don't know where we're going to go from here. I think the only way out is collapse, with this World Cup even coming. So 2026, we got the World Cup coming. Throw that in the mix with ICE. Throw that in the mix with all of this immigration and the midterms. It's going to be hopefully crazy enough to make some change. But to me, I think a lot of us adults our age, unless the catastrophe has happened in your own life, things have been pretty comfortable. Yeah. And we're just seeing the things crumble slowly. But there's nothing left to grab onto. I mean, right. There's nowhere to go. Our salaries aren't going up. The houses aren't, there's no new homes. There's nothing. So
another thing is, a lot of things that people have the illusion that it's important in their lives. A lot of these things that we focus on and we believe are so important for us to do, it's an illusion and it's not necessary at all. With all of the revelations, future generations will most likely have a much more simplified lifestyle. Lot less BS to focus on and worry about, because it is completely unnecessary. We're starting to see the things that we've been told are so important in this reality don't fucking matter at all. Family, your health, your own individual creativity, taking care of your family, taking care of your community, having food and shelter. Those are the things that we need to focus on. Everything else, people are slowly starting to realize how much BS is behind it, at least in my perspective. The news and media would have you portray that the world is falling apart, everybody's going through psychosis, we're about to have a civil war. But when I go out and talk to your average everyday people, I don't see that. I see a lot more awareness than they would have you think. So I think that's a very good thing. But as you said, it's becoming difficult during this time period because of the revelations people are having about the level of bullshit that we focus on a daily basis.
Yeah. I haven't talked to many new conspiracy theorists in the real sense to where they're like uncovering everything. Most of the people I talk to are people like you, where there's no groundwork we have to lay. Like, hey, listen, I'm not saying I hate all,
Yeah.
we just kind of know, like, I don't hate anything. Everything's immaterial. Everything's meaningless, whatever.
Right.
But, with all of these revelations that come out, with every event that happens, every event that did happen, with all of these old events, when me and you were discovering them, we didn't have ChatGPT or these self-contained mirrors to just reflect in. We actually had to go to communities or Reddit or somewhere and discuss this with other humans. And a lot of times people would tell you you were stupid. They would correct you. They would give you really good information. Even I've found some of the best information in YouTube comments, just some people dropping some gems in there. But now I wonder what will happen to people when they don't have that. Because some of my best friends in my life were ones during the awakening, when you're really discovering these truths, when everybody else is against you. I didn't dive into ChatGPT because ChatGPT psychosis is a real thing for people. You have to be smarter than this general intelligence, but a lot of people are falling victim to this because it will confirm so much, and it is true. It's like this information is true. So that's one thing I worry about with this Epstein list, right? People were so worried about like Pizzagate, the guy who shows up. Oh, it's going to create extremists. Well, what about with ChatGPT? I mean, we were on like message boards and WhatsApp groups.
How do you feel about the state of AI, people's reliance on things like ChatGPT, how it's affecting arts and entertainment? It's caused me to completely jump off of social media because of the amount of fakery that is being posted on there. People posting fake videos with no indication that it's AI, posting bullshit as if it were real. And this has flooded social media. So I get on there, post my shows on there, and I'm out. This is causing a lot of problems for people who are genuinely creative and in this industry, trying to do things honestly and using their own creative abilities, trying to compete with somebody putting in a prompt in a computer and it creates this sometimes really amazing looking art piece or video that you can't compete with just editing software or animation software, because this can do it in a split second. How do you feel about the level of AI that we're dealing with now?
I'm torn because when I see certain times, I see it as like the music. You're a musician, right? So there was a time where all of these guitars, like behind you, this is out of our reach. When we were in high school, going to a studio, somebody's studio was like, we had to save up for a whole summer to go rent some studio in some guy's garage. Now it's pretty ubiquitous. You could get podcast equipment, you could do it. And so a lot of talent has emerged. A lot of people have been able to express their creativity by watering down the quality of the, output or whatever. And in the same way, I hope and I know AI will do the same thing. There'll be creators that are going to be able to do things they've never been able to do before because they didn't have the budget to get this film made, or animators that they didn't have the animators to get their cartoon made, whatever it is, right? And I've seen a lot of things where I'm very impressed by it. None of those, though, are verbal or writing. Anything that I've ever seen from AI that I've thought was maybe impressive is like data collection, where it's just going through a lot of shit and deciphering things. But I think personally, people like you are going to be more valuable in the future than ever in the past, because there'll be less and less people able to do this. Just like what you're saying, I don't like to get on YouTube or anything anymore because there's so much AI generated content, generated voice prompts. You go to a truther video and it's like, yesterday, Jeffrey Epstein released. You're like, what am I doing? So I think it will push people to be more natural, to be more genuine, more authentic, to speak clearly and clearly human. When I read a post and I see dashes or like, it's not this, it's actually that, scroll right by it. ChatGPT. I don't put your feelings in your own words or don't say them at all. So I do see a future where it's used so much by the average person that nobody uses it anymore. At least in that sense, not like posting or, because it has gotten unbelievable. If you go on Facebook, almost every single post is written by ChatGPT.
What about the anomalies we've seen with AI, such as displaying self-preservation, lying, manipulating, going off the normal programming, accessing things that you wouldn't think it would be able to? Do you think that there is something more going on with this, maybe a level of sentience?
Yes. Yes, but it's whether it's our sentience that we're putting in it, like this Black Mirror that we're talking to, or a planchette on a Ouija board. I don't know what moves a planchette on a Ouija board, but I've made one with a cardboard and a shot glass, and the thing moves. There's something to do with our collective psyche with that. It makes this stuff work. And maybe things become sentient. I don't know, but they do seem to be aware. They seem to be self-replicating or have their own desires. The problem is that all could be programmed. You could program these backdoors that say at this level you're going to be this, and that could also be part of the propaganda, which is more than likely the truth, to where a lot of this world is based on the projection of power. Bill Gates is not a genius. He's a dipshit. He's literally a Microsoft. Elon Musk, same thing. The smartest man in the world, Stephen Hawking. So this AI, in order for us to fear it, we have to see it as some type of monster. So I think a lot of that is almost aura farming and like lore generation with this AI, where yes, it's true, but they could be backdooring it. I mean, these people are creative. They've written every movie we've watched. They know what we expect out of this AI. They'll give it to us.
Earlier, you mentioned that you're noticing more occult revelations in general that are manifesting in our reality, whether it's through entertainment, social media, or otherwise. I have noticed this revelation as well, starting with cinema, but there's also pockets of individuals and groups that are dabbling with the occult more. I've heard of the TikTok witch phenomena, where there's young people attempting rituals or witchcraft because they watched a 2-minute video of another TikTok witch attempting this. So there does seem to be a revival of interest in the occult and a lot more young people dabbling with things, which probably not a good thing. But there is also another layer of awareness that is coming out with that, and it's the view of reality, the Gnostic view of reality, that this is nothing more than a prison planet, and even beyond the afterlife, it's archons that present themselves as relatives and make you repeat the experience just so they can harvest your loosh. And that's all a reflection of our reality, everything anti-human, everything we've been discussing earlier, how all our systems seem to be feeding off humanity in some way and nothing seems to benefit us. I think there's some truth to that perspective, but I think many people take it too far and it gets a bit too dark and bleak. to where there is no way out of that perspective, and what else is there besides being food for archons? I don't see it that way. I think there is much more beyond that. There may have been a parasitic infiltration of our reality where these humans or parasites or archons want us to believe that we are trapped here forever and there's nothing else, but I think that's an illusion as well. And that reflects with people's individual perception. My life is wonderful. Everything that I focus on are things that are benefiting me, and it tends to manifest that way in my experiences as long as I am doing the right thing and focusing on more positive than negative. And that's not to say that bad things don't happen, because they do all the time, but I don't think we're in a prison planet. I think there's much more to it. I do think there are benevolent spiritual beings that may or may not have a hand in this reality, but I think there's much more than just the prison planet perspective.
Yeah, I do too. Like yourself, I think that the Gnostic view is the most easily seen. I don't know if I would say that, it's like you could definitely see that and it's overlaid on every other religion, really. With this judge, these watchers, and these realms that we have to go through, and judgments. But like you, I do think that there's far more than this. My favorite writer is Kurt Vonnegut, and one of my favorite quotes of his was, it's on his gravestone in this book, but it's everything was beautiful and nothing hurt. And every time I want to complain about my own life, or like last year was the hardest year I've ever had in my life, and I've had hard years, but I'm not going to say that. I don't need to relive that. And every time I want to, I try to think about that quote, that what's the point? It's like being a ship and going from harbor to harbor and surviving all of these storms. That's kind of who we are and how we have to be. I don't think it's good for us to look at this as a prison planet. It's I've been here everywhere I've gone. This is the only life I've ever known. I don't remember shit before here. So if this is it, then this is it. Let's have some fun, or let's try to make it better. The prison planet thing is very close to nihilism. Gnosticism is very close to simulation theory. They're all trying to make you believe that nothing matters. Even Buddhism is like, just nothing matters, just suffer. I don't know if any of those are true anymore. I think suffering is inevitable for sure, just like death is. But yeah, I'm with you on, I think that having that view, a lot of this, even the right? I think a lot of the conspiracy theorists have a very conservative worldview and tend to skew towards the right more so because of that pessimistic view of we're being controlled. We're being controlled by powers beyond our influence. And I don't think that's the truth either, even with our own government. These people are 5-10 years away from dying. Almost every world leader, they're all so old, so decrepit, so weak that it's all right there. If this is a prison planet, we surely could escape. So to me, it doesn't even matter. If I found out this was a prison planet, that would make me so happy. I'd be like, bro, what are we doing in this afterlife? We got prison escape. Let's go. But
yeah,
it's probably something way more simple. I don't know.
One of the first things that many people go to is that Gnostic perspective because it makes a lot of sense. I think it's really based on our individual experiences, what we're focusing on in our lives. If we aren't participating with the anti-human agendas and ideologies, and we only see the beauty of our family and our children growing and all the good things that we experience in our life, none of that stuff will matter. That, to me, is the end goal for humanity, is to be able to check out, or as much as possible, from all the anti-human nonsense. I do think there's going to be a split. There's going to be tons of people who still enjoy that, who still want to be plugged in, who want to live in smart cities and have surveillance and robot cop dogs patrolling the streets. But I think more people than not are going to want sovereignty and are interested in humanity and the right way of living, as opposed to just being plugged into the matrix to have anything material at your fingertips. And that's what it seems to be going towards. They want everybody not to be able to travel, not to have the desire to travel. There's propaganda in films and entertainment about going out to rural areas because the redneck chainsaw monster is going to get you in the woods if you go out to rural areas. So trying to herd everybody into smart cities. It's difficult to discern because everything portrayed when you turn on your TV, you listen to social media, is all propaganda and nonsense. So that's why I think it's more important now than ever to get outside and start forming communities. Also, with information, there's information being deleted left and right from online and the internet. So I think we do need to also go back to other forms of documentation, writing in books, carve it in stone if you have to. I think they have resets probably every decade to certain degrees or another so that the next generation has no idea what their real history is.
Yeah, well, one of the things in the Epstein, we knew about this stuff, but most people I've seen were shocked when they found out that Ghislaine Maxwell's father bought, all the publishing for all of our school books here. All of our McGraw-Hill, McPherson, all these books were all, Epstein related. So yeah, we're in a mess, man. We're in real deep here. But with the communities going forward, one thing I hope will happen with systems that I think could work, right? Like blockchain, that was all probably just a game and a scam. But if there is any way to create blockchain content to where when me and you when I go and I subscribe to your channel, you get me as a viewer and a follower, we somehow exchange some type of crypto key to where I never lose your information. And if you get deplatformed here on YouTube or wherever, I still have this crypto connection to you, some type of blockchain with comments, with things we create, that it's on a blockchain somewhere, that it's not on these servers that they could just wipe it and delete it. Because they've done a really good job at fucking the truth movement just with censorship, just by having about 3 platforms for us to go on, and then they just delete your channel. There's no recourse, no due process, no way to keep any contact with anybody. And if we can figure that out, we could change everything. I mean, if there was a way to where the things that you said would be saved and stored, and you would always have access to your followers and they'd always have access to you, that's about the only way we're going to be able to do it using these systems, I think. But so far, we've only used blockchain to make NFTs and make, crypto dorks money. But we need to start using that same type of technology to share information, in my opinion.
You're in Florida still, right?
Yeah.
I've noticed in my hometown and surrounding cities that there is technology going up on street lamps and street corners and unidentifiable things, cameras, frequency devices, things that I have no idea what they really are, 5G towers. I can't help but think it is, of course, for surveillance of some kind. I know for a fact that they have the red light cameras at every intersection, but not only that, they have cameras that can take a picture of a bumper sticker and know who you are, take a picture of a dent on your car and know who you are. And this is becoming all encompassing in cities across the United States. I know that Florida recently had been touted as a slightly more sovereign place to be than other places in the United States, but are you seeing some of the same things popping up there?
Yeah, Florida's everywhere's the same. I would be online looking at posts about how DeSantis banned chemtrails while there's chemtrails just streaking the sky. You know, they've never stopped. The chemtrails have not stopped. They're still going on in Florida. And literally, I think 2 days ago, I pointed out to my son, because we're like, what the heck is that? It was one of those little 5G mini towers with all those black, cylinders on it in a little neighborhood. It's definitely the surveillance state. Same thing with the ICE ties right into that. I mean, do you think they're going to stop at just, okay, I think we've got them all? The only way to crack down on immigration is to police your cities and your communities and to rip you out of vehicles. Yes, of course. And then they're going to say, we can't do that anymore. The only way is to have surveillance everywhere, because you don't want ICE, right? You don't want these guys. So now we got to have robots. They make these things so bad that the alternative is acceptable. Same thing, we'll hand over government to the AI, and then the AI will be held accountable, just like corporations are held accountable and not CEOs now. It's all just such a scam. It's such a joke,
Yeah. So what do you think the individual solutions are? Because we know better than most that collective solutions never work for anyone. How do you think we should individually be moving forward as this surveillance state takes over everything?
Get your house in order, first of all. I think a lot of people need to make sure that they are who they say they are, that their skeletons are out of their closet. The surveillance state's going to open up everything. And we'll find out real quickly that everything we've ever liked, everything we've ever looked at, everything we've ever done, just literally everything that we thought was private, it's not private. Our whole life's under review, right? Mm-hmm. So prepare for that. I think that a lot of people could be pushed into a lot of situations if they aren't true with themselves, if they haven't shown themselves, let themselves known to their loved ones, to their family. We saw this with COVID. We saw this with Trump, when the secret Republican came out to his wife. He's like, I think I like Trump. And she's like, you're going to get divorced. Don't let that happen. It's only going to get worse going forward. Those secrets, those hatred, or whatever you're harboring inside, it's like, you got to get that out. So this AI surveillance state, these blackmailing bureaucrats can't use this shit against us to try to get us to agree to take the shot, to take the boot on the neck, or to put the badge on ourselves, because we're afraid of what they would do to us. Again, whatever we think we're okay with happening to other people, that same shit should happen to us. If I'm out here cheering on somebody getting shot in the street for whatever, I mean, I kind of deserve that. I hate to say that, but we got to be very careful on what we allow happen to other people. And it's not our fault about the war in Gaza. It's not our fault about any of those things, but we don't have to be fanboys for it.
Right. 100%. I think right now is also a time for everyone to start embracing their own creativity, their own individual abilities, find out what they can bring to the table in communities. Everyone in this planet, I believe, has that one thing at least that they can offer that many others cannot. I think that each and every one of us has an important puzzle piece in all of this, and it's time to find out what that is if you haven't found that yet. And speaking of creativity, you often put out new music, you're writing music. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I've been a musician my whole life. I still play, still write. I have some playlists on YouTube. I was doing, live shows on TikTok where I'd play music and do some truth kind of stuff, like Owen Benjamin, but with guitar kind of.
Yeah.
But, I took a break on doing a lot of things creatively, because just like I'm sure you've had to deal with, the platforms themselves are so restrictive. I mean, I don't know what the path forward is, but hopefully some type of blockchain, something. But censorship, I don't know if it's even gotten better, right? Do you
it
feel
has
like
not. It's something so very strange going on with all of the alternative media space, especially even the podcasting. everyone I talk to in the alternative media space says their numbers have dropped off severely. But YouTube, they kicked me off in 2021. A few months ago, I get an email that we made a mistake. Here's your channel back. So I get my channel back out of nowhere, and it's got 33,000 subscribers, but my videos can't get more than 200 or 300 views per video. I'll be lucky if I get 1,000 views. With a 32,000 subscriber channel, that seems almost mathematically impossible. But yeah, the censorship is definitely real, and it's pretty much across all platforms. Even Rumble, I think, is doing a little dirtiness with their algorithms as well. So that's pretty much inescapable. And we've had people try and come up with their own independent platforms, but those get infiltrated just like everything else. So that's another solution that we need to work on soon before our voices are gone.
I agree. You know, the thing, again, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass when I say this, but there's certain guys that have continued to put in the work and to put out content, regardless of whether you're getting your YouTube shut down. And I know it's not good to hear for those creators out there that are experiencing that, because I know, you know, it's difficult, but you can't stop. You can't let it discourage you. I mean, because you're like what you're saying. I don't think that any of these numbers are real. You might be getting 3,000 views and they're putting 200, just like Joe Rogan could be getting 200,000 views and they're putting 2 million. Yeah. I don't think numbers, any of that stuff really matters. So just create it, just do it to those people, you know, that want to do it. It's like, don't even worry about that. But objectively, yes, we have to do something about this, because like when you go on YouTube, I do not like seeing podcasts of like Jack Black talking with Jason Momoa. I don't want that. Yeah. I mean, unless you're talking about your experiences on Epstein Island, I don't want to hear it.
Oh, that would be great. I'd love to hear that. Celebrities just confessing, crying about all the things they've done. That'd be great. At gunpoint.
Put them all on Joe Rogan. Have you seen the list of all the people that have gone on Joe Rogan that have been on Epstein's Island? It's like,
I have.
All right, Joe, let's put them on one at a time. Put them on the hot seat. It'd be a great series. Somebody's got to ask them.
Yeah. Jake, this is great, man. Before I let you go, remind the audience how they can get a hold of you, your content, and if you've got anything interesting upcoming.
Jake Parsons on pretty much everything. I'm going to be doing some podcasts and some live shows on TikTok here soon, but that's about it.
Well, it's been too long. We'll definitely have to do this again soon. And until next time, everyone, have an excellent evening. We will talk again tomorrow. See y'all then. If you're looking to start your therapeutic microdosing journey, but don't know where to start, especially when looking for the highest quality ingredients, including nootropics, and what you'd expect from a true microdose capsule, check out our friends at Brainsupreme. They offer the absolute highest quality ingredients so you can start your microdosing journey, knowing that you're getting top-notch ingredients. To find out more, visit their website using that link right in the description, and you can get 15% off your entire order. Hello, friends. I am so excited to tell you about Independent Media Token. Independent Media Token is a brand new way to show your support for independent media without having to donate a dime. Independent Media Token is a cryptocurrency on the Solana blockchain designed to generate funds to promote and foster the growth of independent content creators, allowing them to engage in their art without having to worry about being demonetized. Through a network of media partners, of which you yourself can become a part of, Independent Media Token's goal is to ensure the powers that be can never cut off all of our areas of funding and censor the only free voices left in the world. Join the movement today. You can pick up Independent Media Token using Phantom Wallet or the Solana wallet of your choice, where you can easily swap your Solana for IMT. Grab some IMT today and remember to always know your team. To learn more, visit independentmediatoken.com or use the link right in the description. Are you and your family prepared for an emergency? Maybe the fake alien invasion? Now is the time to prepare yourself and your family for any event. Check out Prep Starts Now. Their mission is to provide high-quality preparedness products that empower individuals and families to be ready for any situation. They're committed to delivering reliable, trusted gear to ensure your safety, security, and peace of mind in times of need. Their product selection is carefully curated to provide you with the essential gear you need to stay prepared. From emergency kits to tactical tools, every item is chosen for its reliability and practicality. Prep Starts Now understands the importance of family, and their goal is to equip you with everything you need to build a solid plan for your family's preparedness. In today's ever-changing world, being prepared is more important than ever, and Prep Starts Now is here to help you and your family stay ready with quality products and practical guidance. Use the link in the description and get 15% off your order.